I am second, by the way. Next, has everyone had the opportunity to take a look at the agenda? And if so, do I have any questions or comments as it relates to the agenda? Do I hear a motion?
Mr.
President, I move that we accept the agenda as presented.
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Thank you, Mrs. Counts. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We'll move next to the reports, and our first report is from the JROTC.
You want me up here?
Yeah.
Please. Okay, thank you. All right, Dr. Long, members of the board, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about our first year JRTC and kind of where we envision it for the next few years to come. Just for point of reference here, the slides, it's our first opportunity to actually put kids that are part of this program into the slide set. Before we had some pretty generic photos from other programs, but this are everything you see in here are our kids doing things that we've asked them to do. So first slide, please. All right, so as far as year one, we did quite a few different types of events, and when we tallied all the students that put their name on one of the rosters of one of the things we did throughout the course of the year, we had 61 unique names on that list, which we were extremely happy with. Not all of those actually translated into students in our program, but the official count when the Army asked for the numbers ended up being 48, which is good for a program that had limited advertisement before it went into the curriculum. So we were very pleased with that number, and we graduated or completed the first year with 37 remaining. So we did have quite a bit of fluctuation at semester time, people coming in, people coming out, but we are extremely happy with the number at 37, and there's a lot of indications that we're going to continue to grow rapidly. And just for a point of comparison, with 2 instructors on the books, the Army expects us to be at a minimum of 100, but we do have 4 years to get there. So I think just based off of what we've seen so far and what we have enrolled next year, we're going to have no problem making that very minimum requirement. As far as the activities that we got to do this year, you know, this is a class, so we did all the normal classroom stuff. We got through all of the curriculum without an issue. And then the extracurricular stuff we got to do, we did compete in 2 different competitions. One of them is the JROTC Leadership and Academic Bowl. That's a national level competition. We had 2 different teams. We had one that was academically focused, which is geared towards SAT skills. And then we had one that's leadership focused, which is based on the curriculum itself. And both our teams that competed, they passed the first rounds, which means that they were in the top half of all JRTC programs nationally. And unfortunately, because of scheduling conflict, they didn't get to compete in round 2. But had they been in the top 10 programs in the country, then this week we would be in Washington, D.C. competing nationally. I don't think we're there yet, but I am extremely proud of the kids that competed and were in the top half of the country. And that's particularly noteworthy because we did it in the first 2 months of the year. So with very little instruction, they figured out what they needed to do. And with the academic team, again, SAT skills, and that was a team composed entirely of freshmen. So we were extremely proud of how they competed. As far as the Cadet Challenge, that's what our physical fitness test looks like. And we invited 11 other schools from the Indianapolis area to come down to Center Grove and compete in that 5-event challenge. We had the top male and the top female participant in those events, and we scored second out of all the schools around here, and there's actually fairly good reason to believe that the scoring is wrong, and I believe we probably won that. But it's all right. We win with dignity and we lose with grace. So it was a very strong motivator for the kids to see how that was towards the end of the year, to see how their hard work throughout the year paid off and how they competed relatively against their peers. Moving down the list, we did do 2 service learning projects. Those are community service events that have a learning aspect to them. So the first one we did around Thanksgiving time, where we helped support the Best Buddies Thanksgiving dinner that happens at the high school. We put a bunch of our cadets, excuse me, in the kitchen with Chef Greer, making sure that that meal was prepared and that it was cleaned up afterwards. And we got a lot of praise from the kids that actually got to do it. It got them a chance to be involved with other students inside the high school and to feel like they gave back. And then in the second semester, we did a Red Cross blood drive at the high school. And I think we were shooting for about 40 pints of blood and we got 52 or something around there. So that was very well attended as well. So we're extremely proud of the work that the cadets put towards those two events. As far as recruiting visits and getting the message out there that we are a new program within the school, we had an opportunity to go to the middle schools 3 separate times and talk to Parents Night on the 8th grade night. And we'll get into it in later slides, but I think that awareness campaign is really starting to pay off. I think more and more people are starting to realize we're here and that we're an opportunity for them to participate in. The thing that we did the most, that as far as out in the public, is the color guard events. We did everything from football games, soccer games, to even once here at the school board. So we're going to continue to get our cadets out there and to be in the forefront of all these events to make sure, one, that we're representing the American values well, but also to, again, continue to recruit other people into this program. We partnered with IPS to do a military ball this year. Primo South, it was very well attended by all schools. Our kids had a blast doing that. It was an opportunity to get them out and to see other programs and to interact with other people just like them, just from other schools. So we're going to sustain that effort as much as we can moving forward. And then at the end of the year, we did an award ceremony for everybody that participated in the program. So those are the 2 formal events we did. And then we also had a couple opportunities to get out in the public and do things around the city and around this town to, again, support the community. So we did a flag folding ceremony at the request of Johnson County Library. We were invited to participate in wreaths across America at Crown Hill Cemetery, and then the Colts organization asked us to help them with their Colts 5K. So we had an opportunity to help with the staffing element of that. And again, these are all things that we're going to sustain. As far as getting the program off the ground, we got a significant amount of Army equipment out of the Army. We're going to continue to do that. We are a very expensive program to get off the ground, but the Army is, the supply chain is slowly working, but working. So we're going to continue to ask for more stuff until we're fully funded. We had a couple donors choose projects that worked well for us, and then we had a grant from the National Rifle Association to get our air rifle team off the ground. As far as our summer activities, we do something that's called the JRTC Cadet Leadership Challenge. It's 5 days down in Greenville, Kentucky. It is attended by cadet programs across 3 different states. We're the only program from Indiana that gets invited, so it was an opportunity for us to take 9 cadets down to give them an immersive experience on an Army post to get to do things that they never get to do. As a school, we support 12 days of that, but our cadets get to go for 5 of them, and about 900 cadets from the surrounding states get to go to that. So we're honored to have our cadets go down there, and they had an amazing time. They competed well, and we're really proud of their efforts. They came back sore and bruised, but they really appreciated the opportunity to do the things that that experience affords them. So we're going to continue to go to Kentucky, and then we're also going to build out the ability for Camp Atterbury to host a similar event. And then for the last couple weeks, we've had an opportunity for individuals to come in the morning times during the weekday and work out with Sergeant Major Garber and I. So we've had about 10 cadets a day, Monday through Friday, come in just to get a head start on next year. Unfortunately, we didn't advertise it as well as we did last year, so most of these are the returning cadets, but we did have a few that are joining the program for the first time to just get their bearings, to get to know us as individuals and get a head start on the school year. So that's something that we continue to sustain in the years to come as well. Slide, please. As far as next year, we have, as of this morning, we have 84 total students enrolled. 64 of them are in the first year of the program, predominantly freshmen, which is good news for us. And then we have 23 students that are coming back for year 2, which we're super excited about. all those kids understand the culture we're trying to build, and they're going to be a big part in getting the year one students off to a good start and competitive as soon as possible. It also helps that we are now part of, this freshman class will be part of the Diploma SEALs program, so we will have an opportunity to assist them getting that enlistment seal if they do at least a year with us. And as far as the activities next year, we intend to increase our competition load. Again, we competed twice, but we need to ramp those numbers up. So we're going to do more activities with more schools throughout the course of the school year. And a big part of that is to get the air rifle team running and to establish what's called a Raider team. And for those that don't quite understand, the Raiders is a team-based obstacle course challenge. So we're going to work on that in the coming fall. We also need to increase the hours that we support the school through various activities, and we've been spending a lot of time refining what we did in year one from the lessons learned that we had going through the curriculum. We're going to roll out year two and prepare for year three. And then there's also a unique opportunity with the Army unlocking its cyber pilot program to all schools across the nation. We can partner with AP and do cybersecurity training using both AP and the Army curriculum, and I'm already certified to teach that. So we are going to apply for that program this year in hopes to get it in place next year. So that would not only buy us some AP credentialing in cybersecurity, but we would also get to count additional students into our program that we might not otherwise attract. And if they're in the program under the Army enrollment mechanism, then they could do the after-school activities with us if they choose. If they want to just be AP cyber security students, they're more than welcome to do that as well. As far as some of the requests that we have with the corporation, we understand everything takes time, so we're not trying to push the ball further than it needs to be pushed, but we would ask for continued consideration with a Raiders course. It's an obstacle course that would be set up somewhere on this campus. You know, having an opportunity to talk to cadets from a variety of different schools in a variety of different states, the number one thing that drives participation in JRTC is that Raiders teams put together. But it's really hard to do if you don't have obstacles to work on. And there is no school around here that has a fully built out obstacle course. So if we were able to get that done, however many years that takes, we would be unique and we would be able to host a whole bunch of activities that the local programs around here just don't get to do. Another request that we have is, and I know it's being worked, but just to keep it on everybody's mind, is the ability to use the indoor pool during the day. Going down to the summer program, getting them in the pool, that was probably the biggest deficiency, that when you compare our cadets to other programs, they just don't have the familiarity with the tasks that we have them do in the pool. And if we could just get them in there once or twice a year, I think we would put them back on par with everybody else. In the final request, and this is new, we've not asked for this yet, nor are we in a position to do it, but I just want to put it into space so there's thought about it, is the Army does have a minimum enrollment of 100. And then if there is a desire to continue to grow this program at some point in time, we're going to have to add additional instructors into the program. And that magic number from the standpoint of the Army is 151 cadets. We're supposed to maintain that for multiple years, but the Army, just from conversations we've had with them, they recognize the size of the school and the potential that we have. They would open up that consideration the first year we hit that. Of course, the school would have to agree to that because it is a cost share issue. So if there is, and again, I'm not asking for a decision, I'm just letting you know kind of the mechanisms behind it. If there was a desire to continue to grow this program, we would continue to push till we get to 151, so we can open up the possibility of hiring a third instructor. If there's not an appetite for that, then we need to start cutting it off at 126. So we just need, not there yet, but we just need to know at some point in time what the desires of the program holistically are, so we can plan accordingly. And also for reference, there is a possibility, given the school population, that we could exceed 250, which would unlock the opportunity to get yet another person on board. So that's just food for thought for out-year consideration. One more slide. This is hard to read, and I apologize, but this is just kind of a holistic curriculum map. There's things that we do with the cadets every single year, and there's things that we do on singular years. We do work on their personal growth and their development. We also work on their team building and their decision-making all years that they're here. The year 2 kids will start working on more leadership development and first aid, which will be exciting for them. But I know that there was a request to see kind of what we do so people have a better understanding of what we work with them in the classroom. And then on the bottom, again, I apologize for it's hard to read, but given the block schedule nature of this program, the first time we see the cadets, we do something academic. The last time of the week we see them, we do something physical. In that alternating Wednesday, we work on those cadet-specific skills. And that probably is the day they enjoy the most. But that's kind of what our day-to-day looks like, given the buckets of the training categories that we go through based on the year that they're in the program. And subject to your questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the board?
Just curious, how much land do you need for the Raiders drill course?
There is, excuse me, there's no set amount that, like, there's no standardized Raiders course. You have a lot of opportunities to put different types of obstacles in there, and that's probably why the cadets enjoy Raiders so much, is every single event they go to is a different type of challenge. But
At least an acre?
I couldn't answer that. I don't know. I think we sketched out at some point in time, but I don't know if we actually calculated the square footage of it.
Does Atterbury have something? that
They do.
is similar?
There is, it's hard to train daily down in Atterbury, and there are additional wickets to unlock those services as far as annual training requirements, scheduling. They look fairly far out with that stuff, so we would have to get on their calendar probably for next year.
You're needing it so that you could do it during class time?
You know, there's a part of us that would like to do it during class time, but as a co-curricular after-school activity would probably be more in line with what we're asking for.
Colonel McElrath actually and Major Gardner and I talked a little bit about this, and we actually identified maybe this campus we're sitting on now. A lot of their elements could also be used for leadership and team building, and it would be a great opportunity. I think it'd be a really good Leadership Johnson County project at some point even. So we might pitch that next year to one of their groups and see if we could team together and put something together.
Absolutely.
We've got some great property.
Going there.
So.
It was fitting in
Yeah.
with leadership.
And the same with the use of the natatorium. We just didn't get that started early enough in the spring for it to work out, but we're ready to go, I think, for the fall.
Okay, perfect.
So, feeling
You're
really
not
good
going to
about it.
require us to go through that course, are you?
You're more than welcome to. We'll drag it through anybody.
Just don't have a stopwatch. No, but on a serious note, we're pleased to have you guys here.
I appreciate
I
it.
mean, with a burgeoning program, it's fun to see programs grow. We've seen other
Absolutely.
programs grow. You're going in the right direction. We love to see that. And
Yeah.
I also like, with the presentation, you come to us with requests. I mean, we have limited funds, so we have to
Yeah,
make
absolutely.
decisions, but at least now we know what you're thinking and what your needs are. So
Absolutely.
when the funds are available, we at least know that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I do thank you for the presentation and for being here, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, and just one final thing, if we do end up hiring more staff, I've had 15, 20 requests to let them know when the position opens up. We're not going to have problem getting talent. And,
Great.
you know, spending time down in Kentucky, I had 2 people from Tennessee actually ask to let them know. One is a Center Grove graduate, and the other one spent some time in the area. So people recognize the value of a program being in a school like this, and they want to be a part of it.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So before we move to the next agenda item, I forgot, it wasn't on our agenda. We had an unfortunate passing, so I want to read a statement and then ask for a moment of silence. Tonight, the Center Grove community is mourning the loss of longtime educator who was also a treasured colleague and trusted friend to many. Mrs. Sally Hacker passed away on Tuesday night following a brief battle with an illness. Mrs. Hacker retired from Center Grove in 2016 after serving 35 years as a teacher, assistant principal, middle school principal, human resources director, and assistant superintendent of curriculum. She leaves behind her devoted husband, Steve, and cherished sons, Gregory and Thomas, and daughter-in-law, Leslie. We'd like to ask for everyone to join us now in a moment of silence in her honor. Thank you, everyone. Mrs. Hacker will be missed. So next on the agenda, we have the teacher evaluation and rubric. And I believe that is going to be presented tonight by Kaylee Brown.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, so back in March, we started the process for updating our teacher evaluation rubric and process. And on May 7th, at our work session, I was able to provide you guys with an update. And tonight, I'm excited to share with you guys the finalization details of our new teacher evaluation rubric and process that we'll begin implementing next school year. So I wanted to start by, go to the next slide. Thank you. I wanted to start by reminding you of our why. We are changing our teacher evaluation tool to better support student achievement and strengthen collective teacher efficacy, ensuring that every educator is empowered with meaningful feedback, aligned goals, and collaborative growth opportunities that directly impact student success. We knew that to do this work, we had to make sure that it was a collaborative effort with all of our stakeholders so we developed a committee. Our committee consisted of 25 teachers and 10 administrators from across the district. We met 7 different times to work through our process to make sure that, again, we were coming up with that collaborative tool. And our overall goal of that committee was to be able to produce a teacher evaluation process and tool that prioritized growth development and support of our teachers, supported student growth and achievement, and not just looking at standardized assessments, but really looking at multiple data points across what's taking place within the classroom and the school, recognizing and affirming our teacher strengths because we know they have so many, promoting teacher efficacy, and fostering accountability in all of our teachers. I also want to share with you guys the last time our teacher evaluation tool was updated was in 2017. I don't know if I had shared that before. So what did that work look like? We only had 7 opportunities to meet, and we knew we wanted to be able to roll this out next year. So we really had to work fast and furiously, and we knew that we needed a good foundation to start with. So we took our current tool and rubric, but then I also did some work along with some of our other collaborative members of our administration team to look at some of our other peer schools who are high performing and look what they do with their current teacher evaluation system. So we looked at Brownsburg, Westfield, Washington, and then the RISE model, which is the state's model for the evaluation system. And we tried to kind of merge all of those pieces together, the things that we really liked from each of those, to create a good foundation for our committee to start with. So we restructured the domains going into that committee, and we restructured our process going into that committee, again, just to give a good foundation so we didn't feel like we were starting from zero. So the committee work was really for collaboration and reflection. So we took time to reflect on what was being proposed and drafted. We took feedback, and then we made appropriate changes from there. So the teacher evaluation process as a whole, what our current process is very summative. So you have classroom observations, your teachers are then given feedback based upon how they are scored and rated within a rubric, and then they don't sit down and talk with their administrator until the end of the year to receive kind of that overall summative feedback. And if you go back to our why, we really wanted to be more formative. So if we're going to grow our teachers, we need to have those active, ongoing conversations about what we're seeing that's working well and what are those areas of growth. So our new process is more formative. It consists of an individual goal-setting process. So every teacher creates a SMART goal that they can track and monitor their progress and get feedback on and have specific intentional support that's provided to them to meet those. We will continue to have classroom observations, but the frequency of those have changed. We are now integrating pre- and post-observation conferences with their evaluators so they can have conversations before their observation and directly after their observations to talk through what was taking place during that observation time and give formative feedback to then allow them to put those things in place the next time their evaluator is in the classroom. We still have a rubric, but we've made a lot of changes to that rubric, and they still have that opportunity for that end-of-year summative feedback that gives them that overall rating for the school year. The next slide is going to break down the domain areas. So our current evaluation tool had 4 domains, which were in the areas of purposeful designing, effective instruction, teacher leadership, and professionalism. Our new tool has 5 domains: professional responsibility, planning and preparation for instruction, classroom environment, and then objective measures of student achievement and growth. So I'm going to actually have Kristen pull up the rubric that we've linked in, you guys have access to that. Gosh, it looks so small up there, but I just wanted to reiterate what the different components are. So we have domains, and domains are broad groupings of skills, knowledge, and performance that is expected of a teacher. They represent those big major areas of a teacher's responsibility. And then directly below that domain, you can see where it says 1.1, that's an example of a competency. A competency is a specific skill or knowledge that's needed to be effective within that certain domain. And then those columns that you see, where you see highly effective, effective, needs improvement, and ineffective, those are what are considered indicators. And so indicators are those specific behaviors and actions that are associated with each of those competencies that provide concrete examples of what a teacher should be doing to demonstrate the performance that we would want to see in each of those indicators. So if I'm walking in and I see a highly effective teacher, those are the things that I'm looking for as an evaluator. So I won't go through each of those domains and competencies, but I just wanted you to see kind of what that layout looks like. Two new components to this rubric is the last column that says look fors. Our teachers and our administrators work together to come up with examples of what they feel like should be seen within the classroom. And I think this was really good to get consistent language and feedback directly from those evaluators and directly from those teachers, so they're having those good productive conversations out after those observations. And if you want to click back to the presentation, I'm going to go through those 5 domain areas. Go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So in domain 1, professional responsibilities, I will not read through all of those, but you'll see there are 7 competencies within that domain. Domain 2 is instruction. You'll see that we have 8 competencies within that domain. Domain 3 is classroom environment. We have 3 competencies within that domain. Domain 4, planning and preparation for learning. You can see those 5 competencies within that domain. And then domain 5, there's only 1 competency, and this really directly aligns to that individual goal setting process. So it has to be data driven, and we're using that to evaluate how that teacher is rated in terms of highly effective, effective, needs improvement, or ineffective. I also wanted to share with you guys our staff evaluation handbook, and Ms. Lastly, if you want to pull that up and kind of scroll through, I'll just give you an overview. We did have to make some changes to that handbook because the purpose of a handbook is to make sure that we outline that teacher evaluation process as a whole. So it really specifies and provides details as to what the evaluation system process looks like. You know, we had a great committee of people who really understand it because they were there at the table. We needed to put something on paper that for those, individuals that weren't in that committee, how do they know how to use that tool? What does that look like, and what are the details behind it? It also serves as a reference tool to help teachers, peers, mentors, and administrators understand the corporation's processes for what observing, documenting, and evaluating classroom practices looks like, and then really just helps better understand the components of the teacher process, the observation process, and then the framework for what an effective teacher looks like. And I know we talked about the committee. We got a lot of feedback through this. So they had an opportunity to look through all of the components of the handbook. Everyone had commenting access, so they gave a lot of good feedback, and then we used that to go in and make changes. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you, if we go back to the presentation, is just next steps and what that looks like. So as I mentioned, we will be implementing this at the start of next school year, but we know with any change can come angst, and so we wanted to tell our teachers that while we are asking you to try something new, we are gonna do a year of hold harmless. So that means that their end of year evaluation rating can be no lower next year than it was this year. So it really gives them the opportunity to learn the new tool without feeling that pressure of going down in a rating. The new rubric and process, we will have a tutorial for the new rubric and process. It'll be a voiceover. I'm going to be working with Ms. Conrad on that so that on those opening days, our teachers have the opportunity to learn more about that tool, again, for those people who weren't a part of the committee. Our teacher evaluation committee, we're going to continue to meet 1 time a quarter next year because we realize, again, with change, there are going to be kinks that we have to work out, and so we want to be able to get that feedback from people out in the buildings and make those changes along the way. And then we will hold monthly norming opportunities for our administrators. So as we're using that new tool, we want to make sure that all of our administrators are working together, and that norming component is going to be really important for what we're looking for and what we see an effective teacher or a highly effective teacher to be. The last thing I wanted to share with you, while today we're talking about the teacher evaluation tool, process, rubric, we also changed our administrator evaluation process in rubric. And so for next year, that's just for our principals, assistant principals, and our deans. But we hope that we can then take those changes and apply them appropriately across different administrator evaluation tools and rubrics too. So if we're asking our teachers to change, we're trying to look through that same lens, or look in that mirror and realize opportunities for growth in us as well. So new rubric, new process, and we're really excited to incorporate that or implement that next school year. And that is the conclusion of my report. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Any questions, comments from the board?
You alluded to, I was concerned about what's the consistency of the evaluators?
Yeah.
How are we training them?
Yep,
So that it is across the board and
yep. We're gonna tap shoulders of our awesome teachers and ask to record them in action. And we're gonna use that in our norming opportunities. So to put up a 10-minute or a 5-minute video of a teacher teaching in the classroom, and have our evaluators or administrators be able to work individually, right? And be able to evaluate what that would look like, but then also be able to work collaboratively to share, like, what did that look like for you? What did this look like for me? So hopefully, again, after time, we become much more equitable, right? Or normed in our responses to what we're seeing in the classroom. Any other questions?
Thank you for your efforts. I know
Yeah.
this has been a lot of work, and I know we're not asking a lot of questions because we've been involved in this process in a
Yes.
work session too.
Yeah.
So I applaud, anything to provide a better product for the student, and then ultimately students coming out even better than they already are.
Yeah.
So thank you for all your efforts, and the efforts of the teachers and the administrators and committee that all.
Yep, thank you.
Any other comments?
Can we get a follow-up report about this time next year on
Yeah,
how year one went?
And I like the hold harmless,
Yep.
but it might also be good to know how many no names, but how many hold harmless kind of
absolutely.
applied.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And I did ask members from the committee to join me today. Nobody wanted to give up their summer evening. I totally understand,
Well,
but
there is a Pacers game.
I know. And there was sunshine today, right? Like, first day in a long time, there was sunshine. So thank you guys for your support. Thank you for the teachers, or to the teachers for their support too. Again, we know change is hard, but we appreciate them being on this journey, and we look forward to seeing the successes from it. So,
Thank you very much.
okay, thank you.
Next, we'll turn it over to Christy Berger.
I finally get to hear from Hopper, and I'm gonna have JC and Jamie Brown. Mrs. Brown will let us borrow her sweet daughters to be our volunteers. And I probably would love a person or two from the board if I could talk them into it. So you girls sit at the chair, and you guys think who wants to go.
You two are closest.
We can take two, yeah. I said we were the closest.
Who's the most stressed?
So this is Hopper, for those of you, I know the board has met, but those of you in the audience, and Dr. Long, feel free to chime in as well. I'm not gonna go through all of the stuff I have up there, Kristen. This is just what I use when I go and talk into different classrooms, but Hopper is a facility dog, and so he was trained as a service dog, but he works for a facility versus a person. He's for all the little person. Just some fun facts about him is that he turned 3 in March. We had a little birthday celebration for him. Dogs can only see blue and yellow. I did not know that. That was something I learned during training. Hopper right now knows 56 cues, which are tricks when we think about that. And he went through a ton of training, and he is a part of, you can go to the next one, ICANN's program. So ICANN is a nonprofit, and that's one of the many reasons we love them. But they train the dogs with the men and women who are incarcerated in three different prisons within Indiana. So Dr. Long and I spent 6 days of training, 4 in the prison, with the men that raised Hopper to learn his cues and ways to basically handle him, which is why they call us handlers. So Dr. Long and I are handlers for Hopper. So we did the 6 days in person, but we also did 10 hours of online training. One of the wonderful things I think about the program is the men and women who become handlers in the prisons have to be there for 3 years without any discipline before they can apply. Then they have to do a 10-week course of their own. They have to do a self-worth course, and then they become an alternate. So they're very dedicated. It's a really sought after job. You can ask Dr. Long, but when Hopper went from his green vest to his blue vest, the men shared really just all that he had done for them and really taught them empathy. And these are men that are there for some tough reasons, right? My social work heart was a little emotional, so Dr. Long had to speak for us, but it's just such a wonderful program, and we just love the way that ICANN continually gives back, but we love even more what Hopper's brought to us in the short few months that we've had him. So in my role, I support all 10 buildings with crisis, discipline, mental health, all of those things, so Hopper goes with me to all of those things. But really the purpose behind jobs in schools is it can help motivate our students, especially with attendance. It reduces stress and anxiety, and really that positive school climate, which is something we're always working towards. So we're really excited to have had him. Like I shared, we got him in November. The stats that I have, I think next, Kristen, it's just what we've been able to do since December. So we've gone 185 times to our schools for Hopper to either just hang out, work with students, different things like that. He has 21 individual students that we go twice a month, kind of do some counseling support with those students, myself and Hopper. We've done 23 classroom visits just to teach the kids really about what is a facility dog, how the facility dog should be approached, how you can support them. And then we have done some rewards. So Middle School Central has champ tickets, and the kids can turn in their 75 champ tickets to have lunch with Hopper. So we've done that 12 times, which is 36 students. And then we've gone to support 6 teachers who have been in need as well. So obviously didn't have a picture of that for reasons, but kind of our next steps, and then we'll get to our cool volunteers. Middle School North put in their application for an ICANN dog when we did, so we're hopeful that they'll get one in the fall. And then you'll see Center Grove High School, Middle School Central, and Pleasant Grove Elementary are the next buildings to get that. So we've asked the school to pay the application fee just to kind of show their support and their dedication. For the actual purchase of the dog, we use Title IV funding, which is federal funding for whole child support, so it kind of fits perfectly with that and for safety and climate. And then the other expenses are the handler purchases that, or we have wonderful people in our community that write a really great donation. So that's just kind of a little bit about Hopper, where we've been since December, and where we hope to go. Super excited to see us get some additional schools and some dogs. So we're going to show you some of the things he can do. I'm going to talk to all of you like I talk to the kids, so please excuse my language, but stand. So we always start with the easy cues to kind of build their confidence, just like we build our confidence when we're at school, right? We're learning too. So we start with the easy ones he knows, and he gets all of his kibble. He's on a very strict diet. So sit. Yes. Yes means he did the right thing. He did the right cue. Shake. Yes. Bump. Yes. High five. Oh boy. Down. He likes to finish his food before. Down. Yes. And then if we were in somebody's way, we would just say flip. He flips his hips to the other side. This is the one that I think is really cute. Sleepy. Yes. Good boy. Oh, sorry. Am I going your way? Just trying to nod in the camera. Roll. Yes. All the kids always ask, well, can he play dead? And I was like, well, we don't have guns at school or prison, so we didn't want him out long. Stand. Yes. One of the ones, if Dr. Long and I are feeling kind of lazy and we're going to take Hopper outside, we just say, leash. Yes, good boy. So that's a fun one. Okay, and then do you guys remember what I was teaching you before we got started? So Hopper knows how to play rock, paper, scissors. And so remind me, Jamie, if I do rock, what beats rock? Paper. So his little chin is paper. And if I do scissors, what beats scissors? Rock. Okay, so that's his paw. We're about 60%. This is one we're working on. Back. Sit. Yes. Okay, ready? Got to chew. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yes, good boy. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yes, good boy. That's one we've been working on. This is one that we do with our students. It's called Visit. So he just puts his head there. It's a good cat. One of the really cool things, which I'll show on the adults who are over 50 pounds, is that he gives hugs. And when they told us, they're like, oh, he won't get on anyone's lap that is under 50 pounds. And I was like, no way, how did they teach him that? But he truly won't. We tried earlier. He wouldn't do it, right? All right, so Jason, remember, get down on the knee. Get down over here. Yep. So then, because we can't get kindergarten and first grade students really love that. So these are all the things Hopper can do. So we've been really practicing hard. And so we're not gonna say this word out loud, but remember, okay? Hop. Yes, oh boy. Okay? This is our second word, remember that one? There we go, tell them. Those are my cards. Okay, hop, ready? Yes, good boy. Good boy, Sam. Good boy. So I think it's maybe that he's memorized the number of letters, but we're still proud of his reading. So we're gonna, he likes to get a little lazy on this one, so we're gonna get tight by each other. But we've been able to get up to 8 chairs in middle school symbol. This is a fan favorite. Down. Yes. Wait. This one you might try to change. Okay, crawl. Oh. Side. Get straight on, down. Yes. This is a good thing we teach the kids, perseverance. We try when we don't get it right the first time. Crawl. There we go. Crawl. Yes, oh boy. All right. Did you guys want him to do anything else? Did I forget? We didn't do what? Oh, you want to pick a card and we'll see what he can do. Yes, we'll do that really quick and then we're all done. Not gonna let you forget that one. All right, you pick a good one. This one? Okay. Down. Yes, okay. Pick any of them. Oh, this is drop. Perfect. Since we brought a ball just in case that one got picked. So, stand. Stand. Put your ball. Ball. Drop. So, I'll show you this. Hold on. He knows it's coming. Get your ball. Yes. Give. Because he puts it in your hand. Yes. And then drop is he drops it to the ground. So, that is that we wanted just to share the work that he's been doing since he's been in our building. We call him, what do we decide? We're going to change his name?
We're gonna ask the board to change his job title to the CHO. He's gonna be the Chief Happiness Officer.
Yes.
I like it.
The people in our building have really loved having him here, and he's been a great addition to our staff. So we're excited to see the program go. That's it. Thank you guys for volunteering. I have a light roller piece. Great job. Thank you guys so much. Give him a hug. Mommy has to get a picture of the three of you?
That's,
Tough to top. Thank you.
Mrs. Counts would like to say something here real quick.
Mr. President, due to a family commitment, I need to leave today at 8 p.m. So
Okay.
I don't want anybody to think that I am just angry and I'm leaving. I need to leave today at 8 p.m.
It's only. Yeah, it's nothing to do with Pacers tickets. Just to be clear. All right, next, public comments. Oh, I'm sorry.
I need to do something before she leaves. Sorry, I was gonna be doing it later. At the recent Region 8 meeting for ISBA, Mrs. Counts earned, what's called an EGA, award. It's called, Exemplary Governance Award. And she has earned 75 points or more, actually doing online, right? Yeah. So, let me present your pin to you. Thank you, Mr. Russell. Catch that. Congratulations.
Next on the agenda are public comments, and we do have Good for the Grove, and a couple people signed up for that, but no public comments as it relates to the agenda. Now
preliminary determination hearing. Dr. Jason Taylor, Assistant Superintendent, will present information on the topic.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. We're bringing this back for second review by the board, as required by state law. We held our first hearing on May 15th, and as you mentioned, this hearing's been advertised as our second hearing for June 12th. This is a project that will span from 2026 to 2028 and will include multiple district-wide long-term capital projects. We have a few summary slides I'll review. We also did review every slide in detail at the last meeting, so I will just hit the high notes. The first part of this project is to continue with supporting our operations fund, and this is through purchase and maintenance of equipment, security upgrades, site development improvements, technology equipment, and to purchase school buses and vehicles. This allows us to continue to operate with those limited funds. The second part of this package are some improvements throughout the corporation, including the High School South campus, HVAC and energy savings, the phase 2, so a new phase of that project. Setting aside capital and in preparation for multiple capacity needs in multiple schools, and then some extracurricular and co-curricular facility improvements. Again, with the spanning so long, we wanted to keep this project flexible. We do have some ideas, some of these projects, and we will be sharing those and bringing those back to the board as separate action items once we've landed on these are officially what we're going to do. The other required part, Ms. Lastly, if you'll go to the required information slide for us. It's down just a little bit. You're almost there. Yep, we need to get rid of that extra heading slide. Is it the maximum amount of money for these bonds is $49,500,000. That's the scope of this project. We did write a lot of these terms in broad ways to give us the most flexibility. With the changes with Senate Bill 1, we do understand that our assessed valuation will change. As a growing community, we're uncertain of what that exact change will be, and so we wrote these to accommodate as it fluctuates in the upcoming years. The plan is to pay this debt back as soon as possible at the lowest interest rate possible. Again, we are anticipating this project will not impact our debt service tax rate. Because of this project, we have worked that out to spread out this cost so it will not impact that rate. And you can see some of the other key financial information on there if interested. And just the last slide that I'll hit is the tax rate for Center Grove schools. Again, we project that because of these projects, it will remain level in our debt service fund, and that we'll try to keep that total tax rate level. You'll see it's a very good, it's right at the statewide average at $1.06, and it's well below what we actually compare ourselves to, which is more the central Indiana average, which is actually $1.18 per $100. That's the information I needed to share this evening. If successful, we will return back with the projects in the upcoming months and get to work on this.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Taylor. This has been advertised as an open public hearing, so now is the appropriate time for members of the public to comment on the preliminary determination hearing or information presented this evening. Are there members of the public present who'd like to comment? Seeing no response, I now close this public hearing. Are there board members who have any comments or questions with respect to the presentation or the vote that's before us? I just want to clarify, and I think you said it, this is for flexibility, one, and then second, before expenditures are made, you will return to the board for approval.
That is correct. That is correct. Just like we're about to do on the next action item, it will return for you to issue the bonds on a project. And there will be another chance for public input as we return with those items.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the preliminary approval of the 1028 hearing for the 2026 through 2028 district-wide long-term capital maintenance and equipping project.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Thank you, Mrs. Counts. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Next, action item is the Fifth Amendment to the lease for the Middle School Central project. Dr. Taylor, once again, you will provide information for this project and a proposed resolution.
Thank you. And we have a summary of this project up on the screen in front of you. This was brought to the board in February and again in March for the determination hearing, and we are now returning not only to approve the resolution for this project, but then we will advertise as we bring it back in July for the additional appropriations for this project. And a hearing will be set and held in July for that. At Middle School Central, the majority of this $17 million will be spent on HVAC renovations, a brand-new HVAC plant, and new distribution units throughout the classrooms. We'll renovate the floor and finish coverings throughout the building and the classrooms. We will put some time into the West Gym. The East Gym's very, very, very nice and has been fixed and touched up. The West Gym needs some attention. Add an additional restroom in the lower level, and that's a big need for our sixth grade students. We are reworking the offices some already this summer and would continue to do that. And then some exterior paint just to keep that ephes looking nice so that the mold doesn't overtake it. So those are the parts of the project that we're asking for the board to consider. And this is a building lease, and so it's an amendment to an existing lease to do some more work on the Middle School Central project. That's why it's the fifth amendment to that lease. And that's the information I needed to share tonight.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Speak for the kids that we are very appreciative of another restroom.
Yes.
And for the teachers, because kids are taking so long to get to the existing ones.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Any other questions or comments? Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the resolution of the school board preliminary approving for the fifth, no, that's not it. Is it it?
Yep, yep.
Approving of the Fifth Amendment to lease for public hearing, the issuance of bonds and related matters.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Do I hear a second? Thank you, Mrs. Dunnigan Smith. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next on the agenda, the statement of benefits. Dr. Taylor, you're on a roll.
Yep.
You to provide additional information on the statement of benefits.
Yes, thank you. We have a summary of the changes that we're making to the statement of benefits up on the screen in front of you. So thank you, Mr. Daniels. We're bringing the statement of benefits to you this evening for approval, as we have in prior June meetings. The statement of benefit actually applies to multiple employee groups, so it's level A, B, C, and D, and that represents all of our support staff members and our administration. Unlike last June, we're not recommending an across-the-board raise or salary increase for all of these employee groups. As is typical in the first year of a biennium budget, across-the-board raises would not be recommended until later in the year, typically aligning with our teacher negotiation window. That window is open from September 15th to November 15th. So many of the changes that we're talking about this evening apply to year-round employees and will take effect on July 1st. So the first change that we made, as we do in each year, we update the dates for the holidays for the upcoming year. And that's for all three levels. The second change is in an effort to better promote positive attendance, we've adjusted the maximum on the sick leave severance. Because we have a limited number of retirees each year in these four levels, this is not an impact on the budget, and we'll continue to pay this sick leave severance out of cash balance. Currently, our teachers actually have their sick leave days transferred into a sick leave bank upon retirement. That does not exist for these employee groups, and so for a long time, we've actually paid out those days upon retirement. We look forward to working with our teachers to find similar ways to promote positive attendance in the upcoming months as well. But I would like to clarify that this is the extent of any retirement severance package Center Grove offers. To earn the $40 per sick day exchanged and $100 per service, an employee must complete 10 or 15 years, depending on their age, and their service to the corporation to earn that. And there is no larger package beyond it. We are removing, the next changes, we're looking to remove the matching requirement for the 403B. This is at no additional cost to the corporation. This simply gives our employees additional flexibility with their retirement planning, and we've added an additional contribution for the associate superintendent position. The next change, we've corrected some erroneous language to ensure that our 403B and our 401A plans are both calculated off the same salary amount. And so it's just a change that we discovered throughout the school year. Next change, we're recommending a change from a mileage reimbursement to a mileage allowance. And this is for some employees throughout all the levels. So this will encompass some support staff members and as well as some administrators. But it's not for all. What we did is we actually identified positions that are requiring a high frequency of travel to perform their essential duties across all of the groups. We ran those numbers, we looked at it. We also looked at the additional cost and burden of labor of our secretaries to not only track that and turn in the reimbursement forms, but for approvals and then processing through our business department. And so we're able to remove all that burden off of multiple positions through this change. We also did identify some teaching positions that also do require high frequency of travel. When the appropriate time for the bargaining window opens, it's something we would offer to those positions as well, as we feel like this is actually a great thing and a great change for the corporation to move forward, and really simplify that process and take away that extra burden of labor. The remaining changes that we're presenting in the document tonight are changes to positions that have either taken place over the past year or positions that need to be updated. So for an example, in Level A, it reflects the reduction in administrative positions in the central office made in the past year. It also makes some changes to names and titles. In Level B, it's actually just name changes this time. In Level C, we have quite a few changes. This is where the bulk of our support staff are in the statement of benefits. And so we've added some consistent language, and Ms. Brown and I worked very closely on this, and she did a great job reaching out, and we're trying to just be consistent on our level, steps, and years of experience increments. And so we've put in some clear language for that so it's consistent throughout the document and all of the departments. We are adding a position of preschool instructors, and that'll give us some flexibility as the preschool grows, changes over the years, to look at the instructors in that program. This does reflect the reduction of a corporation level secretary position made in the past year. It adds food service staff for the new academic pavilion cafe, and that is paid for from the food service budget. It changes some of the special service employees to reflect our current positions and pay rates, some things that we've just made changes to throughout the year. And it changes our SSO position from an hourly to salaried, giving us some more flexibility in when they provide coverage. The last thing in Level D then is some detailed compensation for substitutes as they complete required training. We want to make sure we encourage them to do that. So in closing, I just want to clarify, because there are no across-the-board increases in this evening's update, the board's action tonight does not take away any funds that could be used later for bargaining. Moreover, the reductions made in the administrative positions and the secretarial positions at the central office and the reallocation of additional responsibilities over the past years have actually made additional funds available as we enter that. And so I just wanted to clarify that. I know we've had some comments and questions on that topic. I want to be real clear. This doesn't take money away. It actually is providing additional funds as we move forward. And that's a very detailed summary, Mr. Daniels, and I believe it covers everything for you. Thank you. Yep, but I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Any board members with any questions or comments?
Just approximately, what number are we at for employees?
Total?
Total.
Ooh, I'm going to lean on Ms. Brown. She probably knows that a little better than I do.
Total employees?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're, including substitutes, we're about 1,500.
Yeah.
If we did include subs, we'd get about 1,300, 1,328, I think.
So let's just say 1,400.
Yep.
Has to come out of a budget.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Mr. Daniels, if you don't mind, I know there was some misinformation shared to our community and even to some of our teachers, and I really find that disappointing. If you look at the document and you listen to Dr. Taylor's explanation, that most of the stuff that was put out on social media or shared with our staff is simply not true. And I really want to encourage people, if you have a question about what we're doing, to reach out and call us. Don't post it on social media. I mean, you can post it on social media, but when you know it's not factually true, it creates a sense of panic and fear with our teachers and with our community. And I think when you look at the summary sheet today, and if you listen to Dr. Taylor's explanation, that most of the stuff that was put out was simply not true. And I appreciate Dr. Taylor taking the time to go through that line by line. So we had that opportunity to share that.
Thank you for your additional comments, Dr. Long. Anyone else on the board have any comments or questions? Do I hear a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the statement of benefits as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Counts. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mrs. Counts, for your availability. Next, we'll go to food service, and Valerie Miller, Director of Food Service and Nutrition, has a presentation for us.
Okay, not necessarily a presentation, but just a list of information that you guys might need to look at. So
Valerie, I'm building you up for this.
yeah, I appreciate it. Next
I
year,
wanted
next
laser
year I got
light,
it.
laser light show.
He's your hype guy. And
Yeah, I appreciate it. Okay, so every year we have to come to the board for approval and recommendations to what distributors we are going to use for the following school year. So for school year 25-26, We are recommending the following contracts with our vendors through K-12's leading Indiana co-op. You can see here US Foods / the Premier contract will be our mainline distributor. Piazza Produce is fresh produce. D&O Produce through US Foods is the fresh fruits and veggie program with educational materials. That is on renewal year 2. DFA, Dairy Farmers of America for dairy. Alpha, bread. Commercial Food Systems is our snack and beverage, mostly our a la carte program. Velvet ice cream. Our Smart Mouth Pizza contract is for our Smart Mouth Pizza program that we operate at the secondary buildings. And then Smart Systems is our warewashing and sanitizing program, so that's just a contract we put together as a co-op to save funds. And so we are on our year 2 renewal of that, and we do utilize that program here in Center Grove. So just recommending the board approve these vendor contracts for school year 25-26.
Thank you. Do I have any questions or comments from anyone on the board?
No, I was just thinking, I like to see year 2, year 3, year 5, means you're making some good choices
Yes, yeah.
because you're coming back.
Yes, we're coming back, but we're also still active in competition. So, you know, we still ask for bid documents for everyone, pricing, so that we're maintaining competitive pricing throughout our programs.
I want to thank you for the presentation.
Yeah.
Do I hear a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we accept the bids for the 2024-25 food service as presented.
Hang on, that's
25,
incorrect.
26.
It's incorrect on board docs.
There's just, there's a typo.
So we need to make sure it translates
Let's,
correctly.
25, 26.
How should it work?
next year.
Yeah, I was
Next
reading
school
it
year.
going, we did this already.
Jack,
I move that we accept the bids for the 2025-26 food service as presented.
thank you, Mr. Russell. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunnigan-Smith. I hear better out of my left ear. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? If Scott were on the other side, I'd say I'd hear better out of my right ear.
That's smart.
Next,
I
oh,
just want to
sorry.
make sure that translates correctly.
I changed it in board docs
Great,
already.
thank you.
Thank you.
Typos happen, no big deal. Ms. Miller, another presentation.
Yes, so this presentation is regarding our school meal pricing for 25-26. In reality, there's no change at all. We just have to vote on the proposed pricing for next school year. We will update our a la carte pricing.
And I do appreciate, you said, you know, you look for competitive bids and do everything you can to keep it as low as possible. And it's good when we come back and we can say, things didn't change. And if they do, we know things happen, but good job in picking vendors so that we can have a no change for next year.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I'll just comment, I'm in high school every so often, don't make the elementaries like they used to, but the long lines tell me they're wanting the food.
Yes, yeah,
Over they're bringing their own, so
Yes.
that's a good thing.
thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the school meal prices and charge procedures for 2025, 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Do I hear a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunnigan-Smith. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. So a couple of quick announcements. First, our next board meeting is July 17, 2025, with an executive session at 6 p.m. and a regular board meeting at 7 o'clock here in this room. I have one more announcement that I would like to make, and then I'll turn it over to the board for any other announcements. I'm sorry, did I say the 17th?
No, I
It's
think
wrong
we've
in
got
the,
it wrong in
it's
there.
wrong in board docs.
I apologize for that. We have another typo. It happens. We moved that meeting, so it's the 24th.
That makes sense why it wasn't on my calendar.
Our next meeting is the 24th. We'll advertise it, but thank you for correcting me. The Center Groves Community School Corporation has received a final payment of $23,917.60 from former Superintendent Rich Arkanoff. As outlined in our demand letter, this amount includes $2,135.71 identified by the State Board of Accounts and $21,781.95 uncovered through the school's internal review. Combined with the earlier payment of $11,024.67 from Arkanoff and the credit against his accrued time off entered by the school corporation in the amount of $36,206.95 prior to his retirement, the total funds recovered amount to $71,149.28. With this final payment, the school corporation has recovered the total amount determined to be owed by Mr. Arkanoff and considers the matter closed. We want to thank the Center Grove administration and the State Board of Accounts for their efforts in investigating and bringing the unfortunate situation to a close. We also want to thank the Center Grove community for their patience and allowing us time to investigate and ultimately collect the entire amount owed by Mr. Arkanoff. Thank you. Mr. Russell, do you have any other announcements tonight?
Well, yeah, again, at the Region 8 meeting, this time instead of an individual award, the entire board got a commendable level 1 award. So I'm presenting that this evening to the board here. And we also got a little plaque to go on, I think something we have already. Again, commendable.
Great.
On that one. We also had an alumni meeting this morning, and we're getting a little more serious about the Hall of Fame, just how it will look at the high school, and what area we might put it in. But and we are in the second round of nominations. You can find it on the foundation website under alumni.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. And I know the efforts you put in addition to being on the school board with the state organization. So I thank you for being a delegate for as many years that you have and all your efforts on behalf of the school.
6.5 now. And actually with that, I will be going off that at the end of this year because it is a time thing. I can lay out 2 years and go back, maybe.
But I know you'll still be active.
You learn a lot when you go to those meetings.
Thank you. Mrs. Dunnigan-Smith, do you have any announcements?
I do not.
I did see your son's picture as I drove in, by the way, so
I've
congratulations.
mentioned it a couple times, thank you.
Mr. Alexander?
Central 9, we are continuing to investigate adding a third session. That's been presented in our public meetings. We're also working on renewing Dr. Kovach's contract for next year as well, which I anticipate will pass in the July board meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Dr. Taylor, do you have anything? Dr. Simmers? Dr. Long?
I do want to point out, thank you, that tonight with the approval of the personnel report that Dr. Taylor's title is changed from Assistant Superintendent to Associate Superintendent. And I thank the board for taking a look at that and spending the time to diligently study the recommendation. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Long. Congratulations, Dr. Taylor.
I forgot to give, you have your Region 8 meeting things, but also I attended the ISBA law seminar last week and forwarded the information from that to you, to let me know if you didn't get that. I just did it